right, guys, so let's begin. Welcome to this seminar. My name is Afonso Solac. I'm civil engineer. I work for the software development department of CYPE as a marketing director. Today we are starting this cycle of webinars, of workshops related to our last release, the CYPE 2023 version. Okay, so today, June 14, we are starting with this first seminar. Okay, our aim of this seminars is to show a little bit of everything that was implemented in this version 2023. As maybe you probably know, CYPE launches one version during June of each year, so it was not different this year. And then during the year we have different updates, 8 to 10 updates. So this one we are talking about the version 2023A. Okay, so these seminars they will be divided in 4 sessions. So the first session is today, starting with this first webinar, CYPE 2023, main new features and enhancements implemented. We have 3 different sessions in 3 different times. So this section and another one in English, and then we have a second one in Spanish. Okay, so yeah, and we are also recording these seminars, so you can see these recordings after in our YouTube channels. Okay, tomorrow we have another session. It's gonna be related to renders, so rendering CYPE BIM models with Twinmotion. Okay, so we'll show how to connect an architecture or any other model developed with CYPE with Twinmotion and generate renders. Okay, so it's part of the new features that we implemented in the 2023 version. Next week we have also 2 seminars. One that's going to be on Tuesday, June 21. The new features related to CYPE architecture, CYPE CAD, CYPE Connect interoperability. So we'll see how to exchange information between those 3 programs, sending and receiving information. We'll see the main difference that we have in the 2023 version. And then on Wednesday, June 22nd, we'll see how to develop the topographical model using one new application that was launched in the past year during the 2022 version, but that received a lot of upgrades during the past patches, the past updates. So now it's a moment to take a look on this application again and see the main new features that were implemented, and we use it to landscape design and then connect the landscape with the architectural model, connecting Open BIMsite with CYPE architecture, those programs that are the software that we'll see in that section. Okay, so I invite you to come and watch and participate in these seminars. As you can see, we always have 2 different times for those sections that are in English, at 9 a.m. on the Central European summer time, and then at 8:30. So depending on the part of the globe you are now, you can choose the time that is better for you. Okay, so starting the seminar that we have today, just would like to say that you can find more information related to the new features of the 2023A version in this link. I'm leaving this link in the chat if you are watching us on GoToWebinar, and if you are watching us on YouTube, you can find this link on the description below. So here you find a lot of detailed information about everything that was implemented in our software in this version. Of course, in a session like this one that we have a little bit more than 90 minutes to see, it's going to be impossible to see everything. So I recommend you to check this link and read a little bit more about those aspects that we will be talking today. And unfortunately, if we don't have time to see everything, here you find more detailed information. Okay. Starting with our seminar, the first thing I would like to show to you is something that is not related to our software, but related to the information that you can find about our software. As you maybe or probably know, CYPE has, we have our software connected with the BIMserver.center platform. So you can download our softwares here from the BIMserver.center. And when you open one of these softwares, now you see this button here. So it's the application website button. And if you click here, you find more information related to each software that we have. In this case, I'm showing CYPE architecture, but it's similar. It's the same situation for any other software developed by CYPE. Okay, and here you find more detailed information. You can start here when you don't know a software. You can start reading information that is here. And if you are learning about the software, you want to start working with the software, you have this button here, the learning resources. Okay, so here you find videos, manuals. You can find the frequent asked questions. So it's a good way to start working with the software. And this webinar will be it's being recorded, and it will be available also here in this section, videos, tutorials, and webinars, where we can find this webinar and the past webinars that are related, in this case, to CYPE architecture. Okay. All right, so let's begin with our first new feature. We'll try to see everything from architectural to project management, and then we'll see new aspects on our structural programs, and then also something related to MEP. So we'll try to see a little bit of everything. We'll start with the architectural programs, in this case, talking a little bit more about CYPE architecture. Okay, so you probably know that CYPE architecture is our BIM 3D modeler. Okay, so here we have the CYPE architecture in the version 2023A. Okay, and here we have some new features that are not actually just for CYPE architecture. We have a lot of softwares from in this version that where we implemented these new features that I will show you in a minute. Okay, so they are a kind of transversal new features. They were implemented in different parts of our system. Okay, because we are trying to increase the navigability of our software. Right? We are trying to promote a better experience working with our software. So we add some new features that you see in different softwares. So CYPE architecture is a good example to show them, but you see these options also in other softwares. Okay, in MEP softwares, and maybe in other architectural softwares. So you see. Okay, so this menu that we have here, this layers menu that we have here, you probably know that it was something that was implemented since the beginning. The first in the first version of CYPE architecture, it was one of the first things that we implemented in this software. But here you can set the layers of your project. You can create different layers. So you can create your layer to include all the slabs elements, or maybe all the spaces, or all the fences, or all the landscape, or all the facades. So here you can create your own elements, your own layers, using this button here. This is not new, but from now on you have this menu here that is in the middle. That is something new. Okay, as you probably know, when we work with CYPE architecture connected with BIMserver.center, we have these buttons here that are available. So we can send information from our architectural model, in this case, to the platform, and we can update the project and download information from the platform. And for example, we can send the architectural model to the platform, invite someone to work with us, and then someone could, for example, use our architectural model to develop the structural model, or to generate the geometry of the structural model. Then that professional could finish the job and finish the design of the structure, and do the same, share the structure with the platform or with us through the platform, and then we can update the information and download the structural model. And here we'll see in the models tab, for example, this information. Okay, so here I have one of the models that was created with CYPE in this case. And as you can see here, we can see the rebars, and we can see some elements that were generated with CYPE. In this case, probably the model was not finished, or I think the design was not complete, because we can see that some elements are missing. But that is not a problem. It's just to show a little example, a little example about something that we can do with this connection. Okay, but you can see here the level of details that we can reach using this system. And in this case, if I am the architect, maybe I am interested to know where the structure is located. I would like to see how the columns and the beams were designed, the size of these elements, to see if I have to change something in my project. But as you can see, I cannot change the beam, I cannot change the rebar, I cannot change the column, because this is part of the job of my colleague that probably used CYPE to design it. But I can see this information. Okay, so that's something very useful that was implemented here in 2023 version. We have this models menu here, where you can activate and deactivate different IFCs or different projects that were created with other applications by other people, and then were shared with us through BIMserver.center. Okay, just showing another example here. I have the structural model, but I have also the landscape. So for example, here in the landscape, I have some information related to the other the landscape, the topography, and also the side of our building. So in this case, it was generated with this information was generated with OpenBIMsite. So that could be very useful to me, because I can download this information here. Or there is another word that I think it's going to be better. We are not actually downloading the information here, because I cannot, I will repeat, I cannot change this information, cannot edit this information. We are synchronizing CYPE architecture with other information from other software. But we can use this information for a lot of purposes. For example, in this case, could be very useful synchronize the site or the topography model to develop the architectural model. So we can start defining here the perimeter of the space that we will use in our project, and we knowing the site would be very it will be easily or more precise. Okay, just showing some other examples here. We have here, for example, some BMC HVAC installation. So you can see here the position of these models. That's very interesting again. So yeah, someone developed that in another software. It was everything synchronized. Probably that professional used our architectural model to develop this installation, and now we can see where are the elements of this installation. Okay, so this is the new feature that was implemented at CYPE architecture, but you see these menus in other applications too. Okay, you can activate this information by models or by categories. So here we have different categories that were synchronized with CYPE architecture. So we can activate and deactivate the beams or the plots, or here we have some air-to-air heat recovery that will be somewhere in this in the middle of this model. So hatches, ducts, columns, all these categories were synchronized, and where they are inside of these elements. So this list will be updated every time that we use this button here and synchronize more IFCs. Okay, so this is you cannot change the names of these categories; they are automatic. And this one you can change, you can personalize it, but this one is they are automatic. Okay, so this is one of the new features that I would like to show to you. Let me activate again, for example, the bins here. This another new feature that I think it's very interesting is this little button here. Okay, the information or the bin information button. If we activate that, we can click in something, and then we can find you can see the information that is related to this element. So, for example, if I click in a rebar, let's see one of these rebars here. For example, this one, I can see the material, the diameter, the number of bars that are like this. I can see information that was introduced by a design software in this case, and I can consult this information here inside of CYPE architecture. You see this button, as I said before, in different software. So it's useful because when you are designing one of the parts that the layers that we have in a project, it could be very useful if you have this information available. So you can click here and click in elements and then see the information that is related to part of your geometry. Okay. Another new feature that was implemented here in this part is this button here. So you can change the appearance of your model. So you can change it for color drawing to monochrome. Okay, so monochrome, you have this aspect. Maybe you prefer to work in this aspect, so you can change this aspect using this button. You can also change the background color here. Okay, so using this button here. But the background color, of course, will be everything. Of course, it's a background. Okay, so if you want to have this full monochrome image, it's going to be better to work with a background in white color. Okay, but you can combine it according to your preference. This is very nice when you want to export one PNG or JPG picture. So if you want to export something, maybe you are in a moment that you don't have your drawings yet, so you want to share this information with someone, with your customer, with your colleague. You can use one of these views, and you can export this information to a JPG or PNG or also DXF, DWG, and export this information in a fast way just to share something with someone. So I think it's something very useful. You can easily change from color to monochrome, print something, and then use it to write something with a pen or something like that, because it's monochrome. It's going to be easier to print. Okay. A new feature that was implemented here at CYPE architecture, and in this case it's something specific from CYPE architecture. It's this button here. Here we have different reports. Actually, these reports here, the descriptive report related to the building envelope and related to the partitioning systems, they were already here since 2 or 3 updates in the past. But this button, it's new. So here you can see a little report with the surface area table. So as we are talking about a BIM model, in our BIM model we have different spaces that were introduced and classified. So here we can see these results. Okay. Of course, if you are working with other softwares to generate, for example, the view of quantities like open BIM quantities, you can also discover or also calculate these areas automatically. But if you are not working with view of quantities yet, or you are just in a moment of your project that is in an early moment of your project, you can have an idea about the surface area of your project using this button. Okay, so it's something very very useful. Next, you can export this information in different formats. You can also copy this table and paste in another place. So yeah, here you can have an idea about the total surface area of your BIM model. Okay. Okay, so let's see another new feature that was implemented here at CYPE Architecture. To do that, I will change my model. Let me see if I have another one. I have this model here. Okay, this model. So I've created here some views. For example, a ground floor. Okay, a ground floor. We have a basement in this case. Then we have a ground floor. Then we have a first floor. Then we have a second floor that is actually the same that the first floor, and then we have the roof. Okay, and as you can see, this model it is not synchronized with BIMserver.center. Actually, it's synchronized with BIMserver.center, but I didn't update it, so I don't have information from other applications. So you can see that these lists here, they are empty. We cannot see other models. It's a good way to show you the difference between these two situations, when you already have some information and when you don't have information. So here you don't have that information. And as you can see here, the layers that I've created are different from the layers that we created in the other model. So they have different structure, different names. Okay, so it's personalized. I've personalized that. And in this model, I would like to show you this new group of features that are here, these new buttons that are here. They are related to the groups. So you can now create groups in CYPE Architecture. So let me show you one example. Okay, in this case here, I've created this little building. Let's suppose these spaces here are student rooms, for example, or rooms to rent to students. Let's suppose it's a building to a student house or something like that. And we have these rooms. They are the same. Okay, so we have some spaces, different spaces with the same disposition, and it's a good way. It would be much easier if we create a group of elements with all those elements that are common to these rooms, and then if we need to change something, we can edit the group or edit one of the elements that are inside of the group, and everything will be updated, and we don't have to repeat for each element or for each apartment, in this case each room. Okay, so in this case, before I show you that dynamic changing information inside groups, I will create a new group just to show you how it works. So I'll use here a 3D view to create a group. It's just to show how it works. Okay, in this group, for example, I'll use elements from the architecture tab and also the furniture tab. You can use elements, you can group information from both tabs. Okay, so for example, in the architecture tab, I use some horizontal elements. So for example, let's use the Slab button. Let's select here one screed, for example. Okay, and then I will introduce here a screed with I don't know, just a simple screed. Okay, I just would like to add information from both tabs. So one information that was included from this architectural tab, and let's add some chairs, for example, some chairs. This red chair here, I like the red. This red is the color of CYPE, so I really like this color. Let's add some chairs here. And with this information, we have more than 2 elements. So we have in this situation 5 elements. So we can group these elements so using the group options. Okay, so create a new group, and then I will add a name. So my new group, for example, and then I'll select the elements that I want to include in this group. I can select one by one by using the mouse and clicking in each element, or I can select using the window selection. Once everything is in orange color, so they are selected, we can confirm with the right button of our mouse, and the group is created. Okay, the group was created, and now using the tools that are here, I can, for example, move this group. So yeah, everything will be moved together. We can also, for example, rotate this group. Okay, for example, or we could, for example, copy this information. Okay, so we can create different groups. Let's copy again just to have some other groups here. Okay, so yeah, this is the dynamic. It's very easy to understand what is a group. Okay, but let's suppose that I would like to add more chairs in this group. How do I do that? So yeah, first I will add a new chair. For example, let's use a chair with a different color, this green chair here. I'll place the chair here. For example, this one, and also this one, this one. Okay, as you can see, the chairs were not replicated, so we cannot see the chairs in the groups. But if we come back here to the group section, we can use this button here that is used to add one specific element to a group. And then we have the group updated in all the places that this group was used. So now you can see the green chairs inside of the group. Another common situation would be the reverse situation. So I could delete one element from a group. Okay, so deleting the group, the information. Oh yeah, it's going to be here. It was not deleted. Now let's see. Yeah, now actually it's disconnected from the group now, but I can, as you can see here, it's disconnected. So now I can copy again, for example, and you see that the information is not here. Actually this button, it's not to delete, it's to how can I say, ungroup, but just one of the elements. Okay, so this element was disconnected from the group, and now if I use the furniture tab and the delete element, I can delete it, but as you can see, those ones were not deleted, so we could delete those elements. So this is the dynamic that we have here. Another situation could be explode the group. It's delete the group but maintain the elements. So we use this button here, and every element was separated from the group. As you can see, I can now move or delete or edit each element. Okay, yeah, it's a very easy concept to understand. So we have here the main features. You can copy, you can delete a group. Okay, delete a group. You can edit a group. You can, when you edit a group, actually you edit the name of the group. Okay, you edit the name of the group. You can explode. So you have different tools to use that. That's something very useful. So let me show you here how I've been developing this model. Oh, let's come back here. Just delete these chairs. They are not good here. Okay, but for example, if I open the first floor, as you can see here, I have 3, 6, 12. Considering two floors, we have 24 rooms. So these rooms, let's copy one of them. Let's copy the group using the group copy group 2. So as you can see here, let's use another one angle. Everything is on blue, so everything that is on blue color, it's part of the group. Let's copy one group here. So if I edit this group here, or edit this one or this one, it does not matter. When you edit one of the elements that is part of the group, everything will be updated. So let's suppose I would like to change the color of this bed, for example. So I will edit the bed, and this color I will put on red again. Okay, so it was updated, and if we come back, everything here is on red color. Or let's suppose I would like to move the bed. So yeah, I will click on the bed. I will move a little bit, and every group or every copy of the group have the same change. But I could do the same thing here in another copy of this group. So yeah, I will move the bed again to the place that was the original place, and everything is updated. So very easy to understand. Another cool thing that is in this case, as you can see here, this door is part of the group. Okay, this little door here. Okay, but as you can see, the door, we cannot see the wall where this door is located. Why? Because the walls here, they were modeled out of the groups. Okay, but if I have, for example, a wall outside of a door outside of a wall, but when we place this group in somewhere and the door that is inside of the group, it's inside of a wall, uh, both elements will be together, and we will generate the space to this wall. So we can mix these concepts. We can have information that there is inside of a group, and use this information to generate apertures, for example, in the wall. So we can do the same with I don't know, with windows or any other element that is here on the openings button. So they can be inside of a group, although the element there is the construction element where they are located is not inside of the group. So that's something very useful. I think it's very useful. Okay, and that's the group concept that we have here at CYPE Architecture in the 2023 version. Okay. Related to the architectural modeling, we have more new features. So another one, it's inside the software OpenBIM construction systems. As you can see, this is the same model, the model that was developed with CYPE Architecture. The model was developed there. It was shared using the share button. And here in this program, the program is pretty similar. The appearance of the software is pretty similar. The information was synchronized, and we use this software to assign systems or assign construction systems to each construction element that was implemented at CYPE Architecture. Okay, so here we have a library. We can create a library of elements. We can also, in this case, for example, I created a construction system that was called Facades Type 2 with a description, some construction characteristics, and here different layers of information, different materials in this case. So here we have a kind of mortar with densities, with thickness, with thermal parameters, with colors. We can use all these libraries of materials that are here to download this information if we don't have. We can create it manually and then save it in our computer and then upload again in different projects. We can use different manufacturers that are connected with the system, information from different manufacturers. Okay, for each part of each layer of our construction system, we have this same situation. Okay, when we describe this information here, then using the assign button that is here, we can add this information to the BIM model. So for example, in this case here, in this facade, let's open here another one. Oh, it could be this one. We could open this curtain wall here and say, to those curtain walls that you find in this project that came from CYPE Architecture, you can assign one of the curtain walls that are in the construction systems library. Why we do that? Because here we can add more information. For the information here, it's more detailed. Maybe in the first moment when we work with CYPE architecture, we are not planning to for example, analyze the thermal characteristics of our building, or to create a, no, to run a thermal simulation or an acoustic simulation. So in a first moment, maybe we don't need this kind of information. But if we decide to do thermal simulations or acoustic simulations, we will certainly need this kind of information, and then we can describe it here. Okay. The new feature that we have is this button here, the technical data. So here we have some tabs: the thermal insulation tab, the sound insulation tab, the fire resistance tab that we can assign a fire resistance to this element, and any other technical data that we want to include. So here, these tabs here, thermal and sound insulation, the data that we add here now can be imported in a lot of software that you can see that you see that are used to run thermal and acoustic simulations. Okay, so when we add this information here and then assign this information to our BIM model and share it to the project, here, for example, CYPE loads. Okay, it's one of our free softwares to calculate the thermal loads of a project. This software will import this information. So the facades type 1, type 2 that we have been seeing before, as you can see here, they were imported, and here you can see the model. Okay, so, and here you can see all the information that was included before at OpenBIM construction system. Okay, so the workflow would be, we'll start with CYPE architecture, synchronize it with BIMserver.center, add more information with OpenBIM construction systems. In this case, we have a second step, a second parallel step, that is generates the analytical model of the building. So the analytical model, just to show to you, is it's generated in another software, OpenBIM Analytical Model in this case. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the architectural model, the same architectural model. If we deactivate the architectural model, behind it you see the analytical model that was generated with the software, and combining this analytical model with the construction systems information, we can import everything at CYPE loads and then calculate the loads, the thermal loads of our building. Okay, as I said before, the list of softwares that are that can import this information, it's a huge list. So here in the link that I left, that is in our description, you can see the softwares that can import that information. So we have both softwares for thermal and acoustic simulations. So yeah, with these softwares you can import that kind of information. Okay. So we saw a little bit about CYPE architecture. We saw a little bit about OpenBIM construction systems. Let's jump to project management. So let's open OpenBIM quantities. Okay, OpenBIM quantities 2023A version. The new features that are here, they are also related to more tools to visualize the elements, to easily visualize the elements. So here I have one model that was imported. I can see that I have just this model here, just the architecture or architecture model. Inside of this model, we have different layers. So the construction elements, the furniture, the bathroom fittings, the spaces, and also a sketch that was used to generate the geometry. Okay, so this is not new. This is part of the software since the software was launched. If we had more disciplines or more IFCs from our federated model, we will see the different IFCs in a list here, and we could activate and deactivate everything here. Okay, in this part of the software, you can see a list with all the entities or the IFC entities that were imported to that are inside of this model. So we can see here that there are some IFC bins. We have here some IFC columns. Okay, let me change here the appearance of our model. let's put it on a transparent view. So yeah, like this one, for example. So here we can see the IFC columns, we can see the IFC bins, for example. In this case, there is just one bin here somewhere. We can see the IFC furniture, we can see the IFC doors, okay? All the entities that they were imported actually to the software because the IFC model was not generated here, okay? And we use these entities to map information that to correlate information from the BIM model with information from a cost database to then generate the view of quantities. The idea behind this software is using the quantities from our BIM model, connecting these quantities with items from a cost database, we can generate the view of quantities. Okay, this is the idea. The new feature that was implemented here is these buttons here. So now from now on, you can use these buttons to deactivate everything from the construction elements, for example. But now you can also let's put it again in the color mode. But from now on, you can also deactivate separated entities. So here you can change, for example, deactivate just the railings, just the roofs, or just the site, or just the furniture, okay? And using these buttons here, it's gonna be easier to navigate and understand your model. So that's something that is useful. And if you open here, for example, let's use the roofs as I think the roofs are a good example. I can open the roofs. I have two types of roofs, accessible flat roof and non-accessible flat roof. I have one element that is the accessible flat roof and three elements that are not accessible, okay? And as you can see, inside of it, we have the same situation. We can select the inside of the hierarchy that we have here, the best way to activate and deactivate elements. So actually we can open a little bit more. On non-accessible flat roof, we have these three elements: floor slab 003, 66, 56, and 59. So we can deactivate just one of them if you want. And when we have this, we are in this level, the level that when we open everything here in this tree, we also have this button here. With this button, we can easily locate one of these elements. So if there is a huge model that I don't know where is one of information, and I would like to know, I just have to click in this button and we'll locate it easily, okay? So these filters are new, and they work when we are using the entities filter or the structure filter. So this is the structure filter. As you can see, they are also available here. So in both representations, in both ways to show the information, you find these buttons here, okay? More new features that were implemented here on OpenBIM quantities. Here, inside of cost databases, we have a new feature. So here we can create a new database, we can import a new database, we can duplicate a database and then change to create a second database from the first one, okay? And for example, here I have, let me see if I have one in English that is available to download, to edit. Yeah, I will duplicate this one, my new database, okay, just to show you. So here we have this database. This database, we can edit this information. So we have different tools to add concepts, to delete, to replace, okay, to create folders, okay. Here we have different tools to create our own database. And in the past versions, it was possible to import a concept or a full database to OpenBIM quantities. It was possible to import information from the BC3 using the BC3 format, okay, and from the NE3C database. Those were the options that we had in previous versions. And in this version, we also can import CSV files. Okay, so you can import the costs of your own database using this CSV file. It's very easy to do that. You just have to select here from your CSV file, define here the columns that you have in your CSV files according to these concepts here. So the software will read your CSV file, and for example, in this case, if you have the number 1 here, everything that is on the column 1 of your CSV file will be assigned as the code of your item, or everything is on the second column, it will be the type of the item, the 3 the unit of the item, so the 5 the quantity related to that item, the 6 the rate. So you can correlate information from your CSV, adding these numbers here, these indices here, and then accept, and the CSV file will import it to open bin quantities, and will be available to then you can establish this correlation between items from this cost database to elements of your BIM model to then generate the view of quantities. Okay, so this is one new feature. When we talk about these correlations, the connection between cost database and BIM model, so we must talk about the measurement rules. So we have these sets of measurement rules. There are the place where you set these correlations between BIM model and cost database. So let me duplicate one here to show to you my measurement rules. Okay, just to show you. So here, let me edit the list of measurement rules that I have. So here in this example, I have one measurement rule that I called flat roof. Okay, so the number 8. And in this measurement rule, I selected some elements from my BIM model and then connected these models, these parts of my model with some items from my database. So in this case, the program is reading everything from my BIM model that is equals to non-accessible flat roofs or accessible flat roofs. It means everything that is a flat roof. And to those elements, we are adding 2 items. One item that is kind of flat gravel roof with a slope, different elements, and another one that is a reinforced concrete flat slab. 2 elements that are connected. So now we can extract the quantities from these elements and use these quantities to quantify how much of these items we have, and then we will have this information in our view of quantities. Or for example, here in the foundation, we have the same situation. So 2 different elements in our BIM model that are now connected or related to 3 elements from our cost database. The cost database, if we click on this button, we can open the cost database here. Could be the database that we imported using the CSV file as we saw before, and we just have to click in one of these elements from our cost database using the button add, and it's going to be added here, and the correlation will be complete. Okay, so we can do that. With for different projects, for example. And the new feature that we have now is that you can copy, you can cut, copy, and paste information inside of this list. Okay, this list of rules of measurement. You can also do the same here inside of the selection option and here in the items option. This is very easy to understand. You just have to copy and paste here inside it. But something that is very nice is that you can copy from here. You can close this set of measurement rules. You can go to another one, edit it, and here you can paste it. So you can paste information from one list of criteria that you have to another. So you can you can exchange information. That's very useful, because maybe you have one set of measurement rules to a kind of project, another one to another type of project, or maybe you are working in different regions or different countries and you have different sets because there are different rules to generate these measurement rules. So you can use information from one previous work that you made, copy this information and paste it on another set. Okay, so this is one of the new features that we have here at open bin quantities. Okay. One feature that I forgot about CYPE architecture, but I will show you here also in open bin quantities, but then we'll see on CYPE architecture. It's in this button here. Okay, this button, it's something. It's this button. It's available in all softwares of CYPE that work with this 3D environment, where you can see this 3D bin model. So I would say that 8%. I don't know if 85% of our software have this 3D environment. So you can almost always find this button here, and inside of this button now we have this format here, the Fbx format. So with this format you can export everything that is in this view to different different formats, but with this format you can use it to connect it with render tools. So for example, in the seminar that we'll see tomorrow, we'll connect a 3D model developed with CYPE architecture, for example, or a mix of CYPE architecture, CYPE-CAD, CYPE plumbing, CYPE fire, and connect it with Twinmotion to render something. Just showing here at CYPE architecture, it's the same situation. In this case, I have here my 3D model, and the button is here, okay? And it's the same menu, and we can export to FBX, okay? So then we can see. Let me see, where is my browser here? We can reach this kind of results, okay? This renders that we can, in this case, generate with Twinmotion, but could be any other software that is capable to import FBX files. Okay, so this is a new feature that is transversal. Again, it's not something specific for CYPE architecture. So every time that you have a 3D model at CYPE, you can use this feature. So you can render, for example, something that was developed with CYPE3D. For example, a structure created with CYPE3D, or maybe I don't know. You can also mix other IFCs that were uploaded to BIMserver.center with IFC uploader. For example, something created with ArchiCAD that was combined with something created with CYPE-CAD and something with OpenBIMsite, and then everything can be exported in FBX and connected with Twinmotion or Lumion or any other render software. Okay. All right, so we saw the architectural programs. We saw something related to open bin quantities, the project management, the view of quantity softwares in this case. Let's jump to the new features related to the structural softwares, for example. So let's begin with CYPE-CAD. So here I have CYPE2023 open. We have different actually, I think this is the software that have more features, more new features. I'll show some of them. Some of them we'll not see today because we have a specific topic in some days in one of the seminars that we will see in the next week. But I'll show you here some features that I think they are nice. So I will connect the CYPE-CAD with BIMserver.center and select the project, one of the projects that we saw before. So I'm just selecting here the modular building project. That is the name I set to the project that we saw before. And here you see the new window or the new assistant that we introduced at CYPE-CAD to import BIM models or architectural BIM models to CYPE-CAD. Okay, CYPE-CAD is our software to calculate the structure. Okay, so the first thing you see that is new here is that you can see the model here in this window. Okay, as you can see, we are connected with BIMserver.center here. Okay, you can import the different layers of information that are synchronized with this project at BIMserver.center. In this case, I'm using the architectural model as reference. One thing that is new is this button here, the geographic location and reference system. This is actually part of all the softwares that have this button now. So, for example, if you have a different geographic location system in your architectural model, and for example, let's suppose the model is not well located, or the architectural model is not well located. Something it's in a place that is not correct, or in an angle that is not correct. You can adjust it here, changing the values that are here. So you can change. You can work with a global reference system or a local reference system. Okay, so here you can apply these values here to adjust if you have problems with the original model. If you are working with CYPE architecture, we will probably not have any problem here, because the connections are very well designed here in this the users that work with CYPE architecture have the same reference system that users that work with CYPE. Okay, but eventually, if you are working with other IFCs where these systems are not the same, here you have the opportunity to change or adjust this information. Okay. Let's wait until it loads. So this is the first step, this geographic location reference system. Then we have the floor plans. Okay, this is similar to something that was in the previous version. So here we can choose between those levels that were introduced in our architectural model, what levels we would like to import. Yeah, just showing here in our model at CYPE architecture these levels, and also this button, it's new here, the level management button. They were created here in our model here, in this window here. Okay, different elevations for each level. Here at CYPE, we can import or not one of these levels, and we can also apply a difference between the architectural model and the future structural model if you want. Okay, and something nice here is now you can see what information you are importing. So in this case, you can see what part of the model it's related to each floor. Okay, so yeah, it's much easier to understand. And you can also here, using this button here, you can also change information. So here you can activate and deactivate information, put something in transparent, in alembic, or one of the filters that we have here. Okay, so yeah, in this case I will import everything. Then we have the columns. Okay, the columns in this project, we have just one type of column 24x24, and as you can see, automatically it was assigned a reinforced concrete column. You can change the section if you want for a steel or wood or a mixed material section. Okay, and here we have a new feature, the walls. Okay, the walls in this project, there are 4 types of walls: the basement walls, the facades type 1, type 2, and interior walls. So if we select, let's just hide this menu here, the basement, the facades type 1, okay, facades type 2, and then the interior walls, they are inside of our building. So now we can import these walls, and for example, in this case, the basement walls, we can import these basement walls and consider these elements as structural elements. Okay, so for example, in this case, if I check this button here, the basement, everything that is a basement wall, and set that those basement walls are reinforced concrete walls, for design purposes, this information will be designed. So we will see the rebars, we will see it will be part of our structure. Okay, so here you can assign, you can select which elements you want to import, and then assign what type of structural wall you want to consider in this case. Okay, so I'm showing this because then we'll see the construction elements that are here, and we'll have another situation. Okay, but in this case here we have, for example, the basement walls. For us, it's important to design it to be part of our structure. So I will import. In some situation, if it's not the case, but maybe in some cases I can also select here just one specific wall, okay, and also edit here this wall. But in this case, yeah, everything that is in the basement or in the basement category, it's interesting to me. So I will import the basement and consider the basement walls and consider it as a reinforced concrete wall. Then we have the bins. We have two types of bins in this project, two sizes that were automatically assigned to two different sections. Then we have the slabs, okay, different slabs, and the construction elements. As you can see here, the construction elements are actually the same walls that were imported or were read by the walls menu here. The difference here is that the first one now it's not checked. We will not import it because we already imported as a reinforced concrete wall. So here we will not import it, but the others we will import it because they will be important to us to, for example, transform these walls in loads, in linear loads, or to consider these elements in the seismic analysis. Okay, so we can import this information or not, depending depending on the project. Maybe we can have here some walls that are not important to our structural model. Let's suppose it's something that is outside of the building or something that is not important to our model. So we can select if we want to import or not. So this window that I showed before, it's new. We have new features. We can see the 3D model. And I just would like to show you what we can get from the architectural model without working here at CYPE too much. Here we'll select just the codes. Then we'll add some loads here to the different floors that were imported before. So these numbers here related to the names, they were automatically imported from the BIM models. Here you can see those construction elements, the interior facades type 1 and type 2, but you cannot see here the basement walls. So here we are talking about the construction elements that can have a surface load or can intervene in the seismic analysis. So we can set this information here, for example. And then you see that almost everything that is related to the geometry of our structure, it's already done because everything was imported from the BIM model. Okay, so here is the BIM definition tab. If we go to the 3D view, you see that almost everything here, it's all right. So here we have this situation inside of CYPE. Of course, we must define the slabs because there are different types of slabs, different criteria to develop a slab, but it's going to be very easy to add a slab because the bins are in the right place. So we just have to go to the slab panel manager and select one type of slab. I don't know, flat slab, hollow core slabs, composite slabs. I don't know, one of these, and select the place we want to add these slabs. And then we can analyze the structure and get all the results that you probably know that we can get with CYPE. Okay, so I think this is one of the main features that we have at CYPE. Let me show you here in the list, just to show you that we have much more new features related to CYPE. One of them is the rebars. We saw a little bit about that at CYPE architecture. We are implementing this. We have been implementing this feature element by element during the past version. So first, it was possible to export to generate just the rebars of columns, then columns and footings, then columns, footings, and beams. And now this process is complete. So the version 2023A generate automatically all the rebars of your building. It's just one click. You don't have to model this. So now you can export the stairs, the walls, the beams, the slabs. Every rebar of your structure can be exported, can be generated automatically according to the code that you have selected to design your structure. I think I don't have this button available here because I must, let me show you here. When you share something here, yeah, it's not available here, but after calculating, after analyzing your building, when you share the project with someone, there is a check here where you can choose if you want to export or not these rebars to the project that is at BIMserver.center. Okay. Here we have a new way to select how the beam intersections references are generated. So we have different options to generate the intersections, beam intersections reference. We have we have improved some design and checking of beams and columns according to the Euro codes. Okay. Here we have a list here of different little adjustments or little improvements that were implemented at CYPE in this version. I invite you to take a look on this list, and I also invite you to our third session where you see a little bit more about this workflow connecting CYPE architecture, CYPE, CYPE Connect, and see some of these new features. Okay. In CYPE 3D, one example I could show you just coming here to CYPE 3D. One new feature that is very easy to see, it's here on the bar menus. When we describe a bar, let me see if it's sorry, it's not here on the bar description. It's the buckling configuration here. So we can now assign information related to the buckling with a new way, let's say. So in the past, we had these options here: assign a buckling length using one of these options, or adding one value that we prefer in both planes. Okay, but now we have this button here. So now you can also add the critical axial buckling load in one of the specific place, and also in torsion. So you can add directly this value here, a critical axial. So if you have this information, you can add it here. But if you don't have this information, you just uncheck this button and then select the situation that you have here for each bar, and the program will calculate it automatically. Okay, so from now on, you can also add it manually if you need that. Okay. All right, so yeah, we saw CYPE architecture, we saw open beam construction systems, we saw open beam quantities, we saw CYPE, CYPE 3D. Let's see something related to MEP. Let's see something related to plumbing. Okay, CYPE plumbing. Let me jump to CYPE plumbing. Yes, I am at CYPE plumbing now. I know it sings CYPE architecture, but I swear we are at CYPE plumbing. Okay, as you can see, the softwares are each day more integrated. In each version, we can connect more and more things between softwares. And here we have one project here in CYPE plumbing water systems with a lot of information that came from other applications. So for example, we have the terrain that came from OpenBeamSite. We have here the architectural model that came from CYPE architecture. We have here small here the electrical mechanisms that came from open bin electrical mechanisms. We have here the sanitary systems that was developed with open bin aliaxis, and we also have the structural model that was created with CYPE3D. Okay, so you have the same system that we saw before at CYPE architecture inside of CYPE plumbing. As I said before, it's something that is new to a lot of problems. It's something transversal. So here, the same logic, the same system. And why we have it? Because could be very useful to me to develop in this case, the water supply installation using knowing the information from the architectural model or maybe the structural model. So, for example, if we use here the structural model, let's activate just the structural model. Let me see the structural model. It's going to be somewhere here. It's going to be easier to place the pipes, knowing that we have those wooden beams here. So yeah, this is probably a problem. This would be a problem in the future. So knowing this that we have a beam here, it's useful because then we can we can move, for example, this pipe. Let's move the pipe here. Let me see here if we can move it. For example, let's move. Oh no, doesn't matter. But I would like to show that you can use this other disciplines as reference to design your project. So this 3D environment, it's new here at CYPE Plumbing. Here you also have some layers that are specific from the project, from the plumbing project in this case. So the pipes, the pumping systems, tanks, meters. Here we have different layers. You can transform it you can activate the 3D or the 2D aspect of it. So if you unselect these buttons here, you see the 2D aspect of the installation, and you can activate the 3D aspect using this column here. You can also activate and deactivate just one type of elements, for example, just the cold water elements, or just the hot water elements, or just the auxiliary supply. Okay. In this project, the project is not complete. You can see that we have here some problems. The project have just the cold water installation. The hot water is missing. If we deactivate here, for example, the consumptions, let's deactivate the consumptions. You see that the red one, it's not completed. We must connect some pipes here and then connect it with our heater. But doesn't matter. To show the example I would like to show you, it's enough. So a part of this new 3D environments, that 3D work environment, let's say that you can use here at CYPE Plumbing. There is a new feature that I think it's very useful. That is the possibility to define the accessories and use it to calculate your installation. The accessories that are placed in this kind of joints here, for example, or maybe here. Okay, you can add these accessories. To do that, here in the general options, we must set some things. For example, here in the calculation options, we can define the localized pressure drops in pipe joints. So using this button here, we will have different situations. For example, when we click here, for example, I would like to consider the localized pressure drops in elbows with 45 degrees, okay, or in elbows with 90 degrees in T's, and reducers just for cold water, or maybe for cold water, hot water return. Okay, we can select in which type of installation we would like to consider these pressure drops or localized pressure drops. Okay, to do that, before we must add this information to the software. So as you can see here, to define how much is this pressure drop to our elbow, so I can select it from here, because depending on the diameter of these elbows, we'll have different pressure drops. So we'll see in a moment that is a place where we can add a table correlating diameter of these elements to different pressure drops, and then the software will, when running the software, running the calculation, the software will analyze this information and consider it in the design of the pipes. Okay, so the first thing we must do to consider that information is activating these buttons here, or defining this criteria here. Okay, here we have something that is interesting, because you have two ways to consider that information when you are designing the installation. The first one is you can add manually these accessories, or these elbows, tees, reducers. You can click in different points of your installation and add it manually, or you can generate it automatically. Okay, so if you check this button here, the software will generate automatically all the accessories, and we'll consider that on the design. Okay, so it's very useful to use this button here. But I said before that a part of telling to the software that you want to use this criteria, you must add the information related to each accessory. And how we do that? Here in the material equipment selection, we have the accessories here in this button here, and here you can create these tables. Okay, so for example, the elbow 45 PVC I got from a manufacturer website, a table that for each diameter that is here, I introduced some information that is related to equivalent length. For example, here you have a pressure loss of 0.4 meters for each elbow with 20 millimeters of diameter. And as you can see, it increases with the diameter. Okay, so for each elbow that we have in our installation, according to the diameter, we will have this equivalent length pressure loss. We can add this information in equivalent length. We can add in different. We can add a coefficient. We can add meters of water column, for example. Okay, depending on the information that you have, depending on the code that you have in your country, depending the manufacturer you are using, you find mostly in one of these three units. Okay, in my case, in the software, in the manufacturer that I am consulting, the information, it was in equivalent length. Okay, so in this other columns, I left the information in empty. Okay, because this is the information that I want to use. I can save this information to my computer using this button here, exporting, and then we can import it in future projects. Okay, so I created these three softwares here, three accessories, sorry, here. As I said before, we could have these three units, and we must select which kind of unit we want to use. So for example, in this case, equivalent length, here in the design and check options, okay, also in the accessories button, here again, I created some criteria that will be applied to the elbows. And here I said that this information is just for pipes that are cold water pipes, and the localized pressure loss calculation will be according to the equivalent length. So according to the column that have the values to equivalent length, but could be, for example, the other column, localized pressure loss or loss coefficient, depending on the information that I have. So everything here can be selected, can be set. It's very flexible. You can edit everything here. Okay, so it's a software that is very flexible, and you can define everything here. One information that could be useful here that I think it's important to some projects, it's the graphical representation of this accessory. So here you can define or not a symbol, and we have here a generic library of symbols, but you can also personalize it. So you can create your own symbols, you can import DWG or DXF symbols, and then in the drawings we will see this information. Okay. All right, so let's see this tool working. Just checking if my recording is working well here. I think it's working. Okay, let's see this tool working. It's very easy to understand. Everything it's okay. So we just have to calculate here. Okay. When we calculate, we can see that these elements were introduced here. So here we have a T. Here we have one elbow. Okay. So here, for each part of our installation, these elements were generated. We can click it, and we can see the reference that was automatically generated. We can change something if we want. Okay. Here, but this information was automatically generated. As I said before, if I want, I can come here to the accessory button, select one of the accessories, could be a valve, for example, or one of the elements that we created before, and introduce it somewhere. But in this case, everything was automatically generated. We don't need to do that. Okay. As you can here you can see a button to change the color of the installation, for example, according to the pressure loss in the spans. And as you can see here, we have a pressure loss. After this joist, we have different situations with different diameters. So as you can see, it's part of the results related to the pressure loss, the local pressure loss. Okay, that is part of this analysis. Another use that we can, another way to use this information is here in the view of quantities tab. Okay, in the view of quantities tab, if we update the information, we will see here that the elbows were also introduced here. So here we have elbows with 9 degrees and 32 millimeters. We have 1. Then we have T's with 25 millimeters. We have 7. Actually, here it's nice because we can zoom in, and then when we select something here, you can see it on the BIM model. It's the same way, the same system of one-payment quantities. Okay, so you can also click here and see the information in the list. Okay, so let's click here. It's a T. This one, it's an elbow. Okay, and here you can also export this information, import this information in BC3. Then you can send this information to BIMserver.center and synchronize it with open BIM quantities. Here in the cost databases, okay, you can, let's duplicate this one here. You have the same system that we have been seeing before. Okay, so here you can also import a CSV file, so you can connect your cost database with this plumbing facility, in this case designing the plumbing facilities, and also generating the view of quantities automatically. Okay. All right, I think we saw the main features that we have in this 2023A. We are missing this CYPE Connect new features. We will see that in next week in the webinar related to structures. So CYPE Connect have new features too. We have also some new features in CYPE like PV systems and other softwares like CYPE Fire hydraulic systems. And also, for example, OpenBIM Cost Estimator, the database of OpenBIM Cost Estimator was updated to to this day, so the related to the days that were that when the release was, the software was released. Okay, and I think we have here we saw maybe a little bit about everything. We didn't see the OpenBIM site new features, but we'll see the new features of OpenBIM site with some examples also next week in the webinar that is specific for this topic. Okay. Thank you very much for everyone that was with us today here. I hope you could get some ideas about these new features that were implemented. I know there was a lot of information for this this webinar, but unfortunately we don't have too many time to show everything. But I invite you to come in the next seminar, so you'll see more examples. We'll see how to work in using some workflows, and I think it's going to be easier to understand. I hope you enjoy it, and I see you in next webinars.